Right now, there are so many awful things going on in the world. For some, this issue may seem too far from home. Tell us, why should the persecution of Falun Gong in China matter to Americans?
Sure, very good question. Maybe I'll just give you one story. Last week, I accompanied a young man from Arizona and to visit his congressman and senator office last week. And his father is in jail in Shanghai right now. And he was sentenced for 4 years in prison for being a Falun Gong practitioner for his faith. And during his, he's currently still in jail. And when this young man, John, and his mother visited his father in jail, and she found out that his hands are completely blue. And later on, she learned from his lawyer that he was forced to do slave labor in prison. And he was forced to work like 12 hours a day to make jeans. And so this just made me think, most of the things we buy from department store, from say Walmart, Targets, and most of them are made in China. So how many of them were made by people like John's father, or other Falun Gong practitioners, jailed for their faith and work as a slave labor, working 12, 14 hours a day without any pay. And so this persecution is far closer to Americans' living room than most people can imagine. And also, I remember that when this pandemic first started, David Mattis, a renowned international human rights lawyer, and he's also one of the lead investigator of forced organ harvesting in China. And he said something like this. And he said, if the international community didn't ignore forced organ harvesting in China, and instead force China's healthcare system to be more transparent, we wouldn't have this coronavirus pandemic at all. So I remember, Dr. Martin Luther King said that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. I think that's true not only, philosophically, but also literally it is true too.
Larry Liu, Deputy Director of Government and Advocacy at the Falun Dafa Information Center. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.